Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we honor and praise and celebrate those who are truly making significant differences in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for choosing to be with us this evening. My featured guest is MaryMorgan Arrington. She has joined the Wilkes County Cooperative Extension. She's going to be working in horticulture and some other areas. She lives near Statesville in Iredell County. She's a graduate of Wilkes Community College and North Carolina A&T. And what an honor it is to have her with us today. So this is going to be an incredible experience. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. And tell us about childhood and some things that you enjoyed doing growing up.
Okay. I grew up near Statesville. We're about 15 minutes outside of Statesville in Stony Point. Growing up, I really enjoyed living on a small farm. I have horses, and I still enjoy doing things with them. I was homeschooled, and I also went to private school for part of the time growing up. I have one brother, and then live with both of my parents.
Good. Tell us a little bit about the homeschool. Was your mom your teacher?
Yes, my mom was my teacher, and my dad acted as principal.
Really?
Yes.
How about that? Is there a group of folks who get together, homeschool students and parents and teachers? How does that work?
In some cases, there are co-ops for the homeschool.
All right.
Yes. We participated in one for part of a year. Me and my brother both really preferred to have the book and do the work ourselves for the most part.
What were you most interested in your homeschool career?
I didn't really enjoy math until I went to private school. Being homeschooled, I really enjoyed the English, and people call me the grammar Nazi.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding. Where was the private school? The Christian school?
They were in Statesville.
Okay. Then your interest in Wilkes Community College, Ms. Arrington, that was a wonderful experience for you. I want you to really get into that part of your career so far at Wilkes Community College.
Okay. I started at Wilkes Community College my junior year of high school. So I homeschooled, and I did the Career and College Promise program at Wilkes Community College simultaneously. I got involved in the horticulture. I was really interested in agriculture, and I knew I wanted to go to college. So they offered a program, and they were only about a 40-minute drive from my house. So I was able to commute. But I very much enjoyed the horticulture program at Wilkes.
Can you tell us a little more about maybe a teacher you had, or some of the courses, or some of the ideas that the horticulture part of it?
Sure. The lead instructor is Donna Riddle. She taught quite a few of our classes.
All right.
We learned about plant propagation. We learned about turf grass management, pesticide safety and applications, along with other greenhouse things, and we did ornamental plant identification.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Arrington, when at Wilkes Community you talked about progress, what did you say that those college courses while you were in high school?
The Career and College Promise.
Tell us about that. How does that work?
So whenever you're a high school student, you have the opportunity to take college classes. They count towards your high school diploma, and they count towards your college degree.
Wow. So did you have so many hours completed when you graduated from high school?
I had my entire first year of college completed whenever I graduated from high school.
And also with no debt?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow, what an opportunity for a family. So what about the next year? Let's talk about, in depth, if you will, about the experience that next year at Wilkes.
So the classes were pretty much the same. I was able to take the same type of classes the first and second year. We got a little bit more in detail with plant identification the second year, and talked about some certification type options.
And then you chose to go to North Carolina A&T. Tell us that decision Why?
North Carolina A&T has a 2-for-2 program agreement with Wilkes Community College. So all of my credits from the horticulture department transferred over to their agriculture education program. So I was able to transfer really easily. I didn't have to retake any classes.
All right, and you did most of that online?
I did all of that online.
Okay. Were there some visits to A&T while you were doing that?
I went to A&T for a open house meeting, but that was the only time I had to be on campus.
How does an online course work? Just share with our folks watching this today, just describe maybe a course you took and what would be involved in it.
So you have an online login for a platform. Your teacher posts the assignments, and then they post a link to do like a quiz or a test, depending on how they choose to do it. And then they will just, they provide the resources mostly online, but you also order textbooks just like you would taking a regular class.
Okay.
So you complete all the assignments online, and you also quiz and test online.
Do you have opportunities for lectures? Do you see folks actually teaching?
Some teachers do choose to do lectures. It's like a online webinar would be more what it's like.
Okay. And that took you 2 years?
It did.
Okay. Then you had the opportunity to join Cooperative Extension, which has an office. It's a division of North Carolina State that has an office in every North Carolina county. And the opportunity, how did you, how were you able to connect with the Wilkes County Cooperative Extension?
Well, I have been looking at different positions for Cooperative Extension online. All their postings are online for positions. And I had found a couple that were out further east, and I even had the opportunity to interview for one. However, they were just further than I wanted to go. So when the Wilkes position became available, I applied for it, and then I interviewed for it.
Who's the interview?
The interview board was a group of...
In Greensboro?
No, we interviewed at the Wilkes County office.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The director interviewed me, and some of the...
John Cothran and others?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the specialists.
Can you remember any of the questions? What were some of the things you think you just nailed?
Well, they asked me if I had a garden, and I had to tell them no, I didn't have a garden. That every time I tried, it died. I remember that one most distinctly.
Yeah. So shortly thereafter, you were offered an opportunity.
I was. I interviewed roughly at the beginning of September, and I was offered a position close to Thanksgiving.
And share with us the first day. How does things work there at the Extension?
Well, the first day, there had been a lapse in communication, so the director had already scheduled a meeting for that day, so he wasn't able to be there. So I plopped down in my office and started going through all the things that were in there, looking through the books, organizing stuff, and then I got a grand tour of the building.
Mm-hmm. Who's in your office?
We have John Cothran, who is the director,
Yes.
and also the livestock and fields crops agent.
Uh-huh.
We have Whitney Green, and she does 4-H. Myself, I'm horticulture.
Mm-hmm.
We house an area specialized agent. Her name is Lauren Green, and she covers poultry. We also have a secretary or an admin,
Sure.
Donna Bumgarner, and she's getting ready to retire in June.
Wow. Describe a day. What's some ideas? What might John Cothran be doing, or what Ms. Green? Just talk about how things work there at the Extension office.
John Cothran does a lot of field calls. He goes out and works with a lot of farmers, breeding cows and doing other things, actually working in the field with the farmers. Whitney Green, she spends a lot of times in the school doing like school enrichment type programs. a normal day for me would be answering phone calls, emails, of course. And then I also do field calls as well. Bill Hanlon is the retired agent.
Talk about Bill.
For my position. And he is back with me part-time, but it's on just a temporary basis.
Yeah. And he will be a trainer?
He is a trainer, yes. So I have him roughly 10 hours a week. We mostly do like field calls together for the hands-on experience. We do house visits or farm visits, depending on.
Can you give us some idea of some places you've been?
We have been to, I believe it's Blake Farms. She grows flowers in greenhouses. We've been out there. We've been to multiple homeowners to look at various, mostly trees and shrubs.
And a person calls the extension office is having a challenge with growing something. Is that kind of how it works?
Generally speaking, people seek us out whenever they're having disease problems, insect problems, for me specifically. But yes, but we're also available to help them even if they're not having problems. It's really just when they seek us out.
You've been to Perry Lowe Orchard.
I have.
I go up there quite often myself. Tell us about what did you do while you were there?
So with Perry Lowe specifically, we did a bud mortality test. After we had a big frost, all of the blossoms were out.
Now stop right here and explain what that, in layman terms, what we were wanting to accomplish, a mortality. Tell us about that.
Okay, so after the big frost, most of the blossoms were out, and so we were concerned about how many apples may have died due to that.
Okay.
So what we did was we actually dissected the blossoms and looked at them based on a percentage so that we could give the growers an idea of what sort of crop to expect this year.
Bill Hanlon has been a significant influence person in my life. We have somewhat of an apple ministry at Christmas time for gifts, and he connected me with two Tylo, and what a wonderful experience that's been. And farming is a lot of drama that goes along with the weather. You know, is it too cold? Is it too hot? Is it wet? Is it dry? So you're kind of working around nature then in your assignment. So what are some other things that we hopefully you'll be doing?
There will be increased work with the orchards, hopefully, working with greenhouses, working with nurseries. In addition to, I have consumer horticulture, which is just the regular homeowner. I work with the farmers markets.
You do?
I do.
What do you tell us about that? Where and how many different ones, or just one?
Yes, so we have the North Wilkesboro Farmers Market, and we also have the Wilkesboro Open Air Market. So I help both of the market managers whenever they just need advice or assistance with something.
Wow. Tell us how, now that's not the community garden, that's totally something else.
Correct.
And folks come, when do they meet? When are they open?
They have meetings, usually maybe 3 a year.
Okay.
And they're just whenever the market manager decides to hold them.
So there's no set time for
the meetings.
How about when they sell their wares?
The North Wilkesboro market is on Saturdays and Tuesdays.
Okay, good. And so the farmer gets up early in the morning and picks fresh fruit and comes to the market, and citizens in the community come in and buy. Yes,
so they also have people that make like custom jewelry and different types of crafts as well.
Wow. You've spent some time at East Wilkes in a program down there?
I did a career day at East Wilkes Middle School.
Wow, tell us about that.
So it was a 2-day event, and we were each given a classroom, and the classes just rotated through while we did an approximately 5-minute introduction to what we did on a daily basis and sort of what our career was about.
What you do at Extension.
Correct.
All right. Well, tell us where kids they ask good questions. A little bit about the dialogue or the engagement with the youngsters who came there.
The first day, I believe I had 7th grade, and they didn't have a whole lot of questions. I had a few. The second day, I got put with, I believe it was 8th grade, and they had a few more questions because they're getting to the age where they're thinking about what they might actually like to do for a career. I had a couple that were very interested. You know, they knew about agriculture. They were interested in pursuing agriculture.
Tell us about your love for horses. When did that start? And tell us about your animals that you own today.
So I have 3 horses, and it's sort of instilled in me by my dad. I've always loved horses. I got my first pony when I was 8 years old, and I had her for about 10 years. And so now I have 3 other horses, and I've ended up, actually, one of them was one I bred. And so I've really enjoyed working with her and training her.
So what breed are these horses?
I have a quarter horse, an Appaloosa, and an Arab Appaloosa cross.
Do you ride a lot every day?
No. Unfortunately, I don't get to ride very often. Okay. But whenever I do, I normally just trail ride.
So they're on the farm there where you live?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, go back to Bill Hanlon. He's just one of my heroes. His teaching style, or his, how does he, in his role as developing you as a contributor here, tell us about how you interact, you and Bill Hanlon.
So he's normally there 3 days a week in the morning. So in the meantime, if I've had someone ask me a question that I don't know the answer to, it's a really good opportunity, like first thing in the morning, to go say, hey, do you know what this is? You know, what should these people do about this problem? And that's really helpful, just to have someone that I don't have to email or call. He's actually there in person. And he does a lot of teaching just by, you know, we go out and we look at things, and I'll ask him questions. You know, I'll say, why is this way? What would these people do about this if they wanted to treat it?
This calling for agriculture and farming, and do you remember, can you share with us when it might have happened that you said, you know, I really enjoy having this as a career?
So I grew up, you know, on just like a small hobby farm. So being outside, being involved with animals has really been a big part of my life for a long time. But in middle school, my best friend and her mom were heavily involved in FFA, and I spent a good part of my time at their house, and their family owned a dairy farm.
Oh my. And
I got really involved in just being out and enjoying the agriculture side of things with them.
Okay. Back to Wilkes Community College, and those courses, you had a year of college before you graduated from the high school, is that
yes.
right? And all of it transferred, so you didn't waste any time or any investment monies.
Right.
You mentioned a teacher, or there are others that maybe had a significant impact for you at Wilkes?
At Wilkes Community College, I had, like I said, Donna Riddle. I had Jack Laudermilk. I had Frank Blevins. I couldn't name them all
Jack
to you.
is from down in Yadkinville?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
I believe he is a retired extension agent.
And going forward, there'll probably be some opportunities as a landscaper for you. Will you be involved in helping folks with that?
Yes. So I help homeowners with landscape questions they might have about what plants to put where, and then also working with the landscapers who do it for a commercial and for business. Yeah.
So just give us some idea of what a day's been like so far for you, Ms. Arrington. Do you spend most of your time out with folks working at their issues, or how's the day go?
The day mostly goes in the office. I spend a lot of time in the office right now because I try to do the field calls and house calls whenever Bill is there.
Okay.
So we usually try to do those on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday mornings. So we do that. As I learn and am more comfortable doing things on my own, I'm sure I'll spend more time being out. But as it is, I need the computer to help people answer their questions.
Right. So people call in, mostly, if I remember, you've been involved in the community garden too, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so we organized the community garden this year. We have about 56 plots. All of them.
That's down at Cub Creek.
Yes, Cub Creek Community Garden.
Wilkesboro,
It's the town of Wilkesboro.
town of Wilkesboro's park.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So we have about 56 plots. All of them are rented. We have 13 new gardeners this year, which we're really excited about. So pretty much what I do is I just organize. I make sure that they have what they need down there. They have the tools they need, the fertilizer they need, the pesticides, and then handle any squabbles there might be.
Yeah.
But as far as preparation for that, I help them assign the plot numbers with our advisory council. We do have an advisory council for that.
You meet with them every week or month?
No, they're mostly for planning. So I met with them before we started planning and before we assigned plot numbers and things like that.
So an advisory council.
Yes.
Wow. Are crops already growing? Are they out of the ground?
Yes, for some people, they already have a lot of stuff planted. Some of them had like lettuces that they had planted for cold season gardening.
Right.
Our kickoff day, our orientation day was May 5th. So all of our new gardeners, that was the first day that the garden was open to them because we wanted them to complete the orientation first.
Right.
So some of those gardens haven't been planted yet.
So say I show up and you had an opening and walk through that process of that I could be qualified, that I would be assigned, and an orientation meeting with me. Will you do that?
Yes. So if you came into my office and
Say,
you wanted
Mr.
a plot.
York or Gary York, this is a wonderful opportunity, and here's how it works.
Yes. So you would actually fill out an online application, and you would tell me if you had ever gardened there before or if you were a new gardener. If you were a new gardener,
Now, I know nothing. All right, I want to do it, but I just say I'm so limited. Ms. Arrington, please, will you walk me through this?
Right. So after you filled out the online form, it costs $20 to rent the plot. And then the orientation is pretty much that you get a code to get into the gate because it is locked. And there's also a shed that stays locked. So you would get the code to enter both of those. You would get a demonstration on how to use the tiller.
Really? It's powered tiller?
Yes, we have a large tiller, and then we also have several of the mantis type tillers. Those are much easier for people to manage.
So will you come, do you come periodically and check my garden and see if I want you to do some evaluations, what I need to do? Are you available for that?
Yes, so Bill Hanlon and I both try to go down to the garden and we check just generally for insect problems or disease problems on anyone's garden.
Wow.
And then we try to send out a weekly email update to let people know if there's problems going on or not.
Did we have a meeting of everyone came together of the 56? Can a person only have one plot?
So initially everyone was only allowed to have one plot. And then that was for returning gardeners. We also opened it up to the new gardeners. After all the new gardeners had plots, we assigned some of the people a second plot.
What are the most frequently planted varieties of things? What do you see the most that you think is going to happen there?
I can't say about varieties, but just different types of plants. A lot of people go for things like tomatoes and squash, cucumbers.
Onions?
Some do onions.
Cucumbers? Wow, okay. Those individuals, would they come frequently, come about every day if they're going to be a gardener, or how big is it?
We definitely recommend that they come multiple times a week.
Okay.
The weeds and everything can get really out of control just in 1 week. So we do try to get them down there as often as they can, but it's completely up to them.
Yeah.
Most of the ones who are experienced gardeners are down there multiple times a week, if not every day.
Right. Do you hear conversations about giving away the food or finding a place that they could help as a kind of charity or something of that nature? Do you hear that a lot?
We have a master gardener plot, which is about 4 plots that are maintained by the president of our master gardeners and also some of the other members.
Does Gary Dent's name come up?
For the master gardeners, the president is Faye Kennedy.
All right.
And then Gary Dent, he does a lot of work at the Cub Creek Garden,
He's
just
been
in
a
general.
guest here.
Yes,
Yes,
he does
he's
a lot of
good
work.
man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good man.
But some of that produce from the master gardener plots, it gets donated to Imagination Cafe or Samaritan's Purse
I've
or
heard
other
about
charities.
that. Can you explain that to us?
The Imagination Cafe?
Yeah.
It's a program at the library that feeds kids during the summer
Yeah.
when the schools aren't.
With gardeners or community garden products, the vegetables that come out of there, I think are cooked in local restaurants and helped to, is that how it works?
That is my understanding, yes. And I know a lot of local restaurants partner with them and provide other things also.
Right. Okay. Do you have a closing remark about the garden? Is that I guess it's been really an involvement for you this year.
It has. It's been a big step. There was also a lot of changes this year. A lot of us worked on it. John Cothran worked on it. Our admin, Donna Baumgardner, she worked on it.
Yeah.
In addition to myself. And now we've got Bill back on board.
Good.
So
We're coming close to the end. I want to thank Wilkes Communications and River Street Productions and WIFM for this opportunity, and thank you especially for being here and a relatively newcomer to our area and getting you acclimated to things. And it must be an incredible learning experience every day for you, being new to the industry, if you will, and a recent college graduate. Share your gratitude with us as we close today.
yes, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to learn a lot of new things. Learning about the apple industry and the peach industry in and of itself is going to be a large learning curve for me.
MaryMorgan Arrington, she's a recent employee of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension, part of the Wilkes County office, supervised by Bill Hanlon and John Cothran. And I'm just so interested in the opportunities that you have to make a difference in our community. And I'm glad you're here, and I hope you'll come again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.